Ciphers of Time, Awakening the Legacy. Chapter 10, The Rehearsal. As the days passed, the brothers continued their intense training under Vishwa's guidance. They were pushed to their mental and physical limits to ignite and control their cities. Slowly but surely, they reached a state where Shantanu no longer switched bodies frequently and Manu didn't disappear as often. The igniting point of the cities was tracked meticulously, and they were prepared in various ways to harness their powers when that moment arrived. However, mastering the ability to use the cities at will was still a challenge that they had yet to conquer in their training. Manu was eager to finish the training, rid himself of his newfound abilities, and return to his life in London with his family. Meanwhile, Shantanu was determined to reach a level of mastery over his city that allowed him complete control. When asked about his frequent evening outings, Shantanu lied to Manu, knowing that his brother would never approve of using their cities for personal gain. He claimed to have a girlfriend named Malini, whom he had been in a relationship with for 2 years. Despite initial skepticism, Manu was ultimately convinced by Shantanu's story and even felt happy. Meanwhile, it's the moment of truth for Shantanu. He must demonstrate that he belongs. The rehearsal stage was meticulously prepared. The performers were filled with excitement and anticipation, knowing that if everything went smoothly, they would soon be on the main stage. Shantanu's heart raced as he peeked through a small opening in the curtains. The seats were currently unoccupied, but everyone was eagerly awaiting a full house for their upcoming performance. Malini had orchestrated their entire workflow like a master conductor, creating a flawless symphony of lights, sound, and illusion. "Focus, Shantanu," she whispered, her hand resting on his shoulder. "Remember the cues." Their act was a carefully choreographed dance between the real and the fantastic. It began with Malini's classic tricks, cards, rabbits, and rings, to warm up the crowd. Then, as anticipation reached its peak, they transitioned into the realm of the extraordinary, where Shantanu's city played the starring role. The crew members were gathering in a makeshift audience for practice, arranged in a haphazard semicircle around Shantanu. His task was to use his power, his supernatural ability to blend into others, and infiltrate one of the audience members. He had to perform a quick scan of their surroundings, taking note of every item they had on hand, in their pockets, bags. Malini and the other crew members circled around Shantanu's body, playfully distracting the unaware audience member while he conducted his reconnaissance mission. Every move had to be executed with precision and speed, preventing the target from sensing any doubts about someone entering their mind. It was a delicate dance between deception and manipulation, and Shantanu had to be flawless in his execution. "Visualize it," Malini instructed during rehearsals. "You're not just moving through space, you're weaving in and out of reality. Make them believe." But belief was a currency in short supply for Shantanu during practice sessions. His concentration wavered, the thread of control slipping like sand through his fingers. One moment he was on the stage. The next, he found himself in someone outside the theater, disoriented and panting, the echo of Malini's voice chiding him from a distance. "Shantanu!" Her expression a blend of frustration and concern. "You have to rein it in. Focus on your destination." He knew she was right, but the fear of failure wrapped it around him tightly, squeezing the breath from his lungs. He could almost feel the weight of expectant eyes on him, the silent pressure of dozens of performances looming ahead. With every misstep, doubt crept in, whispering insidiously of disasters yet to come. "Again," Malini would say, resetting the props with a determined clack. "Let's try it again. You can do this." Shantanu nodded, wiping the sweat from his brow. He took his position, tried to clear his mind, and focused on the energy coursing within him. He visualized the mark, saw himself stepping through the invisible barrier, separating here from there. Yet, when he opened his eyes more often than not, he found himself not where he intended to be. "Damn it!" he cursed under his breath, his fists clenching at his sides. Every failure chipped away at his confidence. Each unintentional jaunt a reminder of his lack of mastery over the very thing that made him special. "Easy, Shantanu," Malini would soothe, her voice a balm to his frayed nerves. "You're pushing too hard. Let it flow naturally." He wanted to believe her, to trust in the process, in the strange gift that had chosen him. But as they stood together, reviewing the routines late into the night, the shadows seemed to mock him, dancing just out of reach, mirroring his elusive control. With each falter, the ember of hope that had sparked in his chest threatened to extinguish. Yet he couldn't give up. Not with so much at stake, not with Malini by his side, believing in him when he struggled to believe in himself. Shantanu's heart raced as he stood before the grand mirror in the rehearsal room, the soft glow of the hanging bulbs casting an aura around Malini's expectant face. He swallowed hard, his gaze moving from her to his reflection, seeing the strain in his own eyes. Shantanu's mind is consumed by a thick fog of failures, his reflection in the mirror mocking him as he bitterly mutters to himself, "I'm a disgrace, a pathetic loser. Malini will surely replace me with someone more capable. Why would she want a failure like me by her side?" He can feel the weight of his insecurities crushing him, suffocating any shred of confidence he had left. "Malini," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "I need to be honest with you." He paused, gathering the courage to continue. "The control over my abilities, it's not there yet. I'm still training with a Guruji named Vishwa to master them." Shantanu nervously revealed something that Vishwa strictly forbade him from sharing. In that moment, all he could think about was the fear of losing Malini. The thought of her leaving and cutting off all interaction with him haunted him as he tried to come up with a way to tell her the truth. After spending so much time together, Shantanu had grown attached to Malini and couldn't imagine being without her. Her caring nature and determination to make him successful had won her a special place in his heart. So much that he couldn't keep his promise and confessed that him and his brother were secretly being trained in cities by Vishwa. He watched for any sign of disappointment or frustration on Malini's face, but instead, he found understanding. Her expression softened, and she took a step closer, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Shantanu, I've seen your dedication," she said, her voice firm yet kind. "I know you'll get there. We just have to keep working together, okay?" A wave of relief washed over him, loosening the tight knot of anxiety in his chest. He nodded, feeling the weight of his confession lift slightly. "Okay," he replied, finding a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Their eyes locked, and something shifted between them. A silent promise, a shared resolve. In that moment, Shantanu realized how much Malini had become a part of his journey, not just as a partner in their magic act, but as someone who truly believed in him. "Let's try the routine again," Malini suggested, stepping back to give him space. "Remember, visualize the outcome. You've done it before." Taking a deep breath, Shantanu closed his eyes and focused on her words. Visualize the outcome. As he reopened his eyes, he saw Malini watching him intently, her belief in him a tangible force that seemed to infuse him with newfound energy. "Ready?" he announced, more to himself than to her. "Go," she whispered, gripping his hand firmly, the single word filled with all the encouragement he needed. With a surge of concentration, he attempted the feat once more. This time, when he opened his eyes, he was exactly in the body he intended to be, across the room, standing beside a stunned mannequin that served as his practice target. "Shantanu!" Malini exclaimed, joy lighting up her features. She rushed over to him, laughter bubbling from her lips. "You did it." In their celebration, their hands found each other, fingers intertwining naturally. Shantanu felt her warmth seep into him, her presence grounding him. "Thanks to you," he said, squeezing her hand gently. "I couldn't have done it without you, Malini." As they stood side by side, sharing the triumph of the moment, the bond between them grew stronger. They were more than magicians crafting illusions. They were partners weaving a tapestry of trust and support, one thread of magic at a time. As soon as Shantanu left, Malini's heart raced with a mix of guilt and pride. Her crew member approached her with a look of dismay. "What have you done, Ms. Malini? Shantanu believes he acted on his own. But what will happen when he discovers it was you who manipulated his city? All our efforts to gain his trust could crumble in an instant." He wanted to mention their boss, our head car. Malini quickly silenced him before he could mention the head's name. "Be mindful of our surroundings before you speak," she cautioned. "I am well aware of my actions, and our head has placed trust in me. That's the reason he trained me to harness the city with Shantanu. Our main focus should be on completing our mission. Malini's face was determined, her gaze fixed on her crew member as she silenced him with a gesture. Her features were sharp and angular. Her words tasted like a bitter reminder of their mission and the consequences that could come with it. The taste of fear was present, mixed with determination and loyalty to their head.